The percentage of African American students on campus has been steadily decreasing for the past 5 years.
And coming up, we'll take a look at what it's like to be an African American student at predominantly white institution.
Good evening and thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Karsyn King.
And I'm Avery Sadler.
The university has a history of racial disparity, and battles over the state flag, Confederate monuments, and the names of campus buildings have highlighted that rift. But there are thousands of African American students at the school.
Tonight, NewsWatch reporter Lauren Conley explores the black student experience on campus.
Talk about a joyful noise. The University of Mississippi Gospel Choir performs beautifully, a predominantly black organization on a predominantly white campus. Black Student Union President Jarvis Benson is a member of the choir. He's also using his voice to call for change.
My hope for the university moving forward in this time of uncertainty is to continue to listen to the student voice and to all student voices, but also to continue to fight for complete equity.
Benson wants all voices to be considered in decisions, not just those of university stakeholders. Interim Director of the Center for Inclusion and Cross-Cultural Engagement, Alexandria White, agreed to an audio interview. She says it's up to the students to lead the way on the changes they want to see on campus.
Your voice is your weapon, not in regards to violence, but your voice is something that you can use to bring about change. And I think the University of Mississippi students get that.
But it won't be easy for them. Recruiting more students of color continues to be a challenge. In a state with a black population of 37%, African American students currently represent 12.5% of the on-campus student population. That's down from a high of 16.7% in the 2012-2013 school year. Recruiting more students of color continues to be a challenge. Senior chemical engineering major Janice Hodges is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She says at first she did not see herself coming to Ole Miss.
I really didn't feel like Ole Miss would accept me for who I am, but with that being said, I found communities and organizations here who will gladly accept me and who will gladly take me for the woman I am, the black woman that I am, and help me respect myself even more and love myself even more from the day that I walked on campus.
One of the ways the university tries to recruit diverse students is through its MOST conference, which aims to expose potential African American students to the campus and what it has to offer. Although Hodges did not take part in the MOST conference, she came here because of the amount of scholarships available. She believes the university can also attract more black students by holding more forums with open dialogue.
Yeah, more platforms for the black student organizations on campus, more platforms for them to talk, more platforms for them to express how they feel and what they represent.
One student organization recently used its platform to inspire change on campus as they protested for the removal of Confederate symbols. Jarvis Benson was there and spoke up.
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? Unite! Fight!
The question is the university listening? Lauren Conley, NewsWatch, Ole Miss.
And the university has already taken some steps. Earlier this month, they hired 2 assistant vice chancellors in the Division of Diversity and Community Engagement. Their roles involve developing frameworks to further diversity, inclusion, and community engagement initiatives on campus. And an African-American woman in Hattiesburg tried to send a big message by placing the Confederate flag on the grave of a late civil rights leader. She also wore the flag and a noose around her neck as she voted in the runoff Senate election on Tuesday.
Claudia Bivens invited her 8-year-old grandson to the polls in an attempt to teach him about the importance of voting and about the history of voter suppression.
I saw it as an absolute opportunity to teach him some things that I would love for him to be able to teach his children.
Part of her attire caught many by surprise. She wore a Confederate flag on her shoulders along with a red noose while voting.
The flag was draped over my shoulders, representing the burden that racism places on my shoulders, and if my shoulders are burdened down, everybody else's shoulders are burdened down too.
Afterwards, she took the flag off and laid it across the grave of late civil rights leader Vernon. He was killed in his home by members of the KKK for trying to fight for black voting rights in the 60s.
So the laying down on the flag represented laying down the past. Let it die. Kill it from the root.
Bivens says her actions were spontaneous. She adds that she didn't suspect it would have a negative impact on the family.
I have so much respect for that family, and I would never intentionally do anything to cause them any type of grief. They went through too much.
Dennis Damer, the son of the late civil rights leader, says he gets her message and thinks it was important that she shared it.
We want it made quite clearly that we support what that lady did, okay? The only part that we had a problem with was her actually putting the flag on the grave.
He says communication with the family beforehand could have prevented any misunderstanding.
If she would have contacted us, we'd have, we told her we didn't want her to do that, and I believe she would not have done it.
He would like to see her continue her fight to educate young voters and eradicate voter suppression in the state of Mississippi.
We commend the lady. I hope she continues to speak out about how she feels about things, and I look forward to having the opportunity to meet her one day in person.
Now, there have been different public displays of racism and awareness this week, with hung nooses at the Capitol and protest against the Confederate statue on the Ole Miss campus.
The Associated Student Body has accomplished so much this semester, and last night was their third and final meeting of the year, where they allowed students to come and voice their opinions. NewsWatch reporter Annie Sharp is in studio to tell us more. Annie?
Thanks, Avery. Last night at the ASB Leadership Forum meeting, students voiced their opinions on current pressing issues on campus this semester. ASB President Elam Miller shared some of the things that they accomplished this year.
Yeah, so tonight we had the ASB Leadership Forum, which is a meeting we hold 3 times a semester. This is actually the first semester we've done it, but it's an opportunity to get ASB leaders from the executive branch on cabinet, from the judicial branch, from the legislative branch, into a room together, and students are invited to this, and they're allowed to come make comments. It's really just to make sure that students have access to these ASB leaders that are making decisions.
Cabinet members, Chancellor's Standing Committee representatives, and Senate members all attended the same meeting for the 3rd time this semester.
Other things that we brought up tonight was the statue and the protests today, making sure that we are doing what we can to make sure that those students know that the ASB is here to elevate their voice as well as all student voice on this campus. Whenever students have issues or concerns or things that they want to be brought to the administration, no matter what their ideas are, we want to help them get those meetings and get those times to be there.
ASB works hard to make sure students' voices are heard by holding meetings like this where they can alert ASB of their concerns.
This year was the first year that ASB was able to get all members in one meeting together. They've accomplished more in the past years. They plan to continue this during upcoming semesters. Back to you, Avery.
Thanks, Annie. The City of Jackson will receive $1 million from former New York City Mayor and philanthropist Michael Bloomberg. The city has been named a Bloomberg Philanthropies 2018 Public Art Challenge winner. The money will be used for its Fertile Ground, Inspiring Dialogue About Food Access project. This project aims to address nutrition and food equity in Mississippi. Public streets, community gardens, a local elementary school, and a vacant building are all sites that will be converted into exhibition spaces and food labs for the project. Jackson Mayor Chokwe Lumumba says the city is overjoyed to have been selected for this project.
Now, if someone calls claiming to be the IRS requesting your social security number, that should immediately raise a red flag. The Lafayette County Sheriff's Department is warning against scammer calls, claiming you'll go to jail if you don't provide personal information. Now, rest assured that if the IRS does need to reach you, they will never call and demand payment, or ask for credit card numbers over the phone, or threaten to have you arrested for not paying taxes. If you do get a call requesting any of this information, be sure to decline and immediately contact the Oxford Police. And holidays and kids go hand in hand this season, and the Family Crisis Center provided a spot for kids to meet Santa. Kids were smiling, cameras flashing, and letters to Santa were written, all while enjoying milk and cookies to get into the holiday spirit. Program Director Meredith Rawls says this event is a safe place for kids to take pictures with Santa and enjoy some cookies. They could also tell him what they wanted to see under their tree this year. Santa's helpers made a special appearance this year and assisted anywhere they could.
Put your tacky sweatshirts on because the Ole Miss Handband is back for their 4th annual signing rave for the holidays. The Handband spread holiday cheer by having their signing rave today at the Pavilion. Many students and faculty showed up to enjoy the Christmas music while also learning some sign language. Students from all different backgrounds participate in the event. The club has been practicing hard since October to learn all the right moves to make the production as special as it is. The point of the rave is to bridge the gap between the deaf community in Oxford and the Ole Miss community. According to the Pacific Northwest Christmas Tree Association, there is a Christmas tree shortage across the nation, but not in Oxford. Owner of O Christmas Trees, Jeffrey Hollis, says that they have sold trees this year faster than ever before, but they have plenty left. Hollis has been selling Fraser fir trees in Oxford for the past 22 years, but he has noticed a gradual price increase around the country within the last 5. But this is the first year that Hollis has increased his price. Although the costs are rising, many Oxford residents stay true to buy fresh trees for their homes.
Well, President Trump's former lawyer is making headlines today. Coming up, we'll take a look at how his latest move may reveal a potential connection between the president and Russia during the elections.
And stay tuned to see how one new study is shedding some light on the furry friends we all love. But first, Delia Vandevelde has your first look at the current conditions.
Hey there, Oxford, and happy Thursday. As I'm sure you've noticed, those temperatures have started to warm up a little bit, and with those warmer temperatures is rain. We can expect a few showers tonight and thunderstorms as we move into the weekend. Now, taking a look at the current radar, you can see there are lots of spotty showers around the Oxford area. Stay tuned later for my full report coming up on Stormwatch.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
So, I'm kinda new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Here she comes. I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife. When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, pleads guilty. He admitted to lying about President Trump's knowledge of a project involving a Trump Tower in Moscow. Cohen says he lied because he felt a sense of obligation to the president. According to CNN, these findings are important as they appear to show President Trump engaged in business dealings with Russia in the midst of a campaign in which Moscow interfered to help elect him. Prior to President Trump's departure to Buenos Aires, Argentina, he said Cohen is a weak person. And today, President Donald Trump abruptly canceled his planned meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. This comes just 2 days before the two leaders were scheduled to sit down on the sidelines of the G20 summit. The president's reason for cancellation is Russia's refusal to release Ukrainian naval ships and sailors, which were seized during a maritime confrontation between the two countries on Sunday. En route to the summit, President Trump tweeted about the cancellation and ended it with, quote, "I look forward to a meaningful summit again as soon as the situation is resolved."
GOP Representative Jim Jordan is no longer seeking to be President Trump's chief defender on the House Judiciary Committee next year. Jordan just announced he was interested in running for the position a few days ago. The steering committee, which ultimately determines the leadership and membership for each House committee, was left confused after hearing Jordan's decision. Jordan had long been seen as a potential candidate to fill the ranking member slot on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, where he had the most seniority. The two other candidates are Ohio Representative Steve Chabot and Georgia Representative Doug Collins. U.S. Marshals arrested 20-year-old Aaron Brown in Atlanta around 9:30 this morning after he was accused in the Black Friday mall shooting in Hoover, Alabama. Brown is charged with attempted murder. This news came after police shot and killed wrongly accused 21-year-old Amantic Bradford. Bradford was suspected because he was seen holding a handgun on the scene. Authorities later said that evidence indicates he likely did not fire the rounds. Bradford was an Army veteran with a permit to carry a weapon. Bradford's death sparked protests at the mall and at Hoover City Hall to express their anger at police.
Now, would you be willing to pay $500 for shoes only worth $20? That's what Payless set out to discover. The well-known budget-friendly shoe store opened a disguised shoe pop-up store called Payless with its own Instagram and website in a Los Angeles mall. Now, they invited influencers to attend the grand opening, giving them a small stipend. They racked up over $3,000 in just 2 nights. One shopper paid for shoes that had an 1,800% markup. Payless returned the shoppers' money and let them keep the shoes. But they said that the social experiment was to remind shoppers that Payless's shoes are affordable but also fashionable.
A new study suggests dogs really aren't as smart as we think they are. Canine cognition was compared to other carnivores, social hunters, and domestic animals, which are all groups that dogs fall into. Researchers used existing behavior of information of wolves, cats, dolphins, chimps, and other animals to see if dogs possessed any special skills not recorded in other species. Well, they did not. Dogs are slightly above average when it comes to social cognition, especially when taking cues from humans. Maybe dogs are just good at being motivated by treats and belly rubs. Either way, they're still man's best friend.
Well, Avery, we saw some rain today, and it looks like there's more on the way.
You know, I think that it's probably going to keep going. I heard tomorrow is going to be a rainy one. Coming up, Delia Vandevelde will let you know if the bright skies will make a return this weekend.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Disaster tip from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
Good evening and welcome back to Storm Watch. It is currently cloudy and 66 degrees outside with some light winds and a 40% chance of rain headed our way. As we take a look at the current satellite image, you can see that cloud cover in Mississippi. Now taking a look at the temperatures across the map, we are looking at temperatures right around the mid to upper 60s with Oxford and Holly Springs at 66, South Haven at 68, Corinth at 65, and Tupelo currently at 67. The temperatures for tomorrow will be a little bit warmer than today, with a high of 67 in Oxford, Tupelo, and Corinth, 68 in Holly Springs, and 69 in South Haven. For tonight, we can expect the temperature to drop to around 59 degrees, with showers heading in our way and some 10 to 15 mile-per-hour winds. As for tomorrow, you will definitely need your raincoat because thunderstorms are expected all day long with that 100% chance of rain. Now, as we take a look at the 5-day forecast, you can see rain will continue into Saturday morning, but things should clear up Sunday and moving into next week when those temperatures drop back down into the 40s. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Delia. Coming up, see what men's basketball coach Kermit Davis had to say last night about the tough matchup against San Diego.
And see what the women's basketball team has to do tonight to beat a tough TCU team. Next.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Good evening, Rebel fans, and welcome to Sports Watch. I'm Jason Price. Last night, the Ole Miss basketball team welcomed 5-1 San Diego into the pavilion, and they wouldn't be allowed to leave until they got their L. Sports Watch reporter Sky Spieler has more on the team's victory.
I'm here in the pavilion where the Rebels just defeated San Diego 93-86, and it was all hands on deck tonight for Coach Kermit Davis's Rebs. Terrence Davis had 20 points with 9 assists, career high for him. And Brian Tyree led the team in scoring, and he had his most efficient night ever as a Reb. 6 of 7 shooting, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. They also had contributions from some freshmen. KJ Buffin and Blake Henson had 15 points apiece. So offensively, this team has shown they've got plenty of different options. Defensively, they were good as well. They had 13 turnovers, and after the game, Coach Kermit Davis said he was really happy with the 1-3-1 defense tonight. So the next game is going to be here at home against Louisiana Monroe in the Pavilion, and the Rebels are now 4-2 on the year. Sky Spieler, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
As the Rebels celebrated the win, head coach Kermit Davis explained how scoring the ball was so efficient in the game against San Diego.
Yeah, just the ball moved. Cincinnati, we have 3 assists. It's hard to have any balance when we're just dribbling it to shoot all the time. And Cincinnati makes you do that a little bit. But tonight, for the first time, we played against an abundance of man-to-man. And so our ball movement was good. You know, we had 20 assists, which is a great number. And I just think the ball got out of each other's hands, played inside out. And so that's the total reason why it happened.
The men's basketball team's next opponent will be Louisiana Monroe on Saturday. Tip-off will be at 1 p.m. in the Pavilion. And if all this basketball talk has you hungry for some more Rebel hoops, fret not. The Ole Miss women's team will be taking on the TCU Horned Frogs in the Pavilion tonight at 8 p.m. The 3-4 Lady Rebels are coming off a rough trip to the 2018 Paradise Scam, where they lost to powerhouses like UConn and Purdue. The team will have to step it up against the 4-1 Horned Frogs, but luckily, history is on the side of Ole Miss. The Lady Rebels have won every match between the teams with an overall record of 3-0 against TCU. Come out and cheer on the Lady Rebels at 8 o'clock. Well, that's all for sports, but make sure to follow us on Twitter at NewsWatch_UM for more of your favorite sports updates. Karsyn, Avery, back to you.
Thanks, Jason. Up next, see what Amazon Alexa can now do and why there may be something a little fishy about it.
Stay tuned to find out how this 190s craze is getting a not-so-basic reboot.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans. Because love has no labels.
And Big Mouth Billy Bass is back on the market just in time for Christmas. And this time it has an assistant. Amazon is taking pre-orders of the toy fish right now. The newest feature, it can now connect to Amazon's voice assistant, Alexa.
The fish can respond to Alexa voice commands and dance to the beat of songs from Amazon Music. It even syncs its lips with Alexa's words. The toy costs $40 on Amazon. The original Big Mouth Billy Bass first hit shelves in 1999.
I don't know how I feel about that, Avery.
I kind of like it, if I'm being honest.
It's kind of weird. Well, speaking of fish and fishing, is it going to be time to go outside, do any kind of thing like that?
I don't think tomorrow will be the best day to go fishing. We can't expect rain all day long.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Delia. And sad breaking news coming out of Jackson. The Clarion Ledger is reporting 3 have been shot in front of the University of Mississippi's Medical Center, including a child.
This is a developing story, and we'll continue to update you on our Twitter account.
And that's all we have for tonight. Thanks for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Karsyn King.
Be sure to join us here again on air tomorrow at 5 and on our Facebook live stream. You can also find our show on hottytoddy.com. I'm Avery Sadler. Thank you and good night.